Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to the Tiger Talk. We're here in beautiful Orlando by the Millennium Mall area. I guess I'm going to be leading this one this time, along with yours truly, Michael Carey, on the other side of the camera. But this talk is really dear to me. It's about stigma. And there's a lot of different type of stigma that we have in communities and what have you, but definitely this one I like to go into in depth with mental illness, and especially within the Black community. My interview with Michael Carey, I spoke just a little bit about it with stigma and mental health, and it's something that I believe that we really should take a heed to and really pay attention to about. I've been doing some research myself actually online about mental health because I'm actually treating a loved one, which is my mother. And it's something that is very difficult because it's something that I really don't know much about, and it's truly that a lot of people don't know much about, especially within the Black community. There's this company called NEMI. And you can go to their website called NAMI.org. But
how do you spell it?
NAMI. Is it pronounced right?
NAMI.
Yeah,
NAMI.org.
.org. And it's this article that speaks about the Black community when it's pertaining to mental health. And in it says, in the African American community, many people misunderstand what a mental health condition is and don't talk about this topic. This lack of knowledge leads many to believe that mental health condition is a personal weakness of some sort of punishment from a God, or some type of weakness, or some weakness that they just inherit. Now, African Americans may be reluctant to discuss mental health issues and seek treatment because of the shame and stigma associated with such conditions. Many African Americans also have trouble recognizing the signs and symptoms of mental health conditions, leading to underestimating the effects and impact of mental health conditions. Some may think of depression as the blues. And sorry, I just lost my place here. But phone just kind of went out. But some may think of the stigma as the blues or something to snap out of, which typically that's not the case when it comes to mental health. Because of the lack of information about mental health issues, it's not always clear where to find help and when you may actually need it. Now, in the Black community, there's no surprise that majority of Black Americans are have some type of religious faith background. And it speaks in the article saying that faith, spirituality, and community in the African American community, family, spiritual beliefs tends to be the source of strength and support. However, research has found that many African Americans rely on faith, family, and social communities for emotional support rather than turning to healthcare professionals, even though medical or therapeutic treatment may be necessary. Faith and spirituality should not be the only option to pursue if you believe in some type of religion. So definitely you should always go out for some type of professional treatment and support if you believe in some type of religious faith and want to use that. Of course, you do know that I don't have that type of religious base with me or any type of spiritual faith. So I will of course just go out for professional support. Now, African Americans are also more likely to experience certain factors that increase the risk for developing a mental health condition. Homelessness. People experiencing homelessness are at a greater risk of developing a mental health condition. African Americans make up 40% of the homeless population. Exposure to violence increase the risk of developing a mental health condition such as depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. African Americans children are more likely to expose to violence than other children. 1 in 5 people is affected by mental illness. This means that even if we don't talk about it, most likely we have one of these illness or know someone who does. So to just cap this up, don't let fear, the stigma of what others may think, prevent you or your loved one from getting better help. I know that with my mother, and it's a little bit hard to talk about, and actually my father suffered from mental disorders. He was a veteran, and he
kudos.
And absolutely, and it's Veterans Day tomorrow.
Right.
Happy Veterans Day to you, Mr. Michael Carey.
Appreciate that.
To all the veterans, we do appreciate your sacrifice to us in this country. Absolutely.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Because you guys do suffer so much, and my father suffered for our country, and he developed a mental disorder because of his sacrifice to our country. And because of that, he wasn't properly treated. And this is what I experiencing now with my mother. And it's a hard thing because right now in this whole situation that I'm in, I'm pretty much doing research and trying to find help and support and get her the need that she absolutely deserved. And it's hard because it's not so much support out there from within our community.
How did you discover that she might have mental health issues? Did she voice that to you and say, hey, something's going on with me, I don't know what it is? Or was it just observations, or did her personality change, or what?
It was absolutely the personality. The mother that I knew from a child versus the woman that she is today is completely different. Her way of talking is absolutely different. And I picked up the signs because my mother was never really paranoid. Her behavior became very aggressive, and I noticed also within, like, conversing with her in a 5-minute conversation, she'll go through like multiple attitudes, from being very happy to being extremely upset, from laughing and then crying in tears. And I knew that that wasn't something that is normal from anybody to go through all these emotions at once.
Right.
And so, on top of that, and other things that she is going through, I know that these are things that absolutely that she needed some type of professional help. So I did get people to examine her, and they came up with the diagnosis. Now, granted, if I would just, if I was in some type of faith and just prayed about it, how would I hear God or know that God would take me, to tell her to go to some type of professional treatment to be examined?
Right.
So honestly, I would say I didn't know. I just know that it was something that's not normal. And so I went to a professional facility to really examine her. And I think that's what's really the best thing, because it may be a little bit late at this point, but it's definitely
it's better than nothing.
Better than nothing, absolutely.
How did the examination go? Did it turn out to be any good, or was it pretty much? I mean, when you took her to this place, I mean, what did they do? Did they medicate her, or?
For us, my understanding is and she's currently under examinations now, but basically, I think a psychologists come in and pretty much just speak to her and talk to her and examine her moods and examine how she's feeling and what she's talking about, and pretty much her every waking life. And so
but why would anybody be reluctant or afraid to get those type of things off your chest and talk to somebody about what's going on? Why do you think that, it's no problem if your arm is broken, I guess, to go to a doctor and get your arm x-rayed and put your arm in a cast and take, a Lortab or a Vicodin or a Percocet, but when, like you're saying, if her personality or her moods are changing or she's not feeling like herself and you're observing these things, why do you think why is it that way? I mean, especially, I guess you're talking about the black community. Why do you, other than, I know the religion, like as you mentioned, and the faith is kind of their go-to, but why do you think it is that way, that they would turn to that versus turning to a professional healthcare provider?
You really hope that they'll just snap out of it, You really just hope that it's just like the article that I read, that it's just, they're just singing the blues right now, they just...
It's a phase.
It's a phase, and something...
Okay.
I remember
Wow.
Another stigma, even within our community, about black and masculinity. I was taught very young as a child that, man doesn't cry, man always very strong, and, they don't really show any type of emotions, and especially, bad, negative emotions. And I remember actually getting disciplined for crying or saying like, oh, stop being a girl, stop being so soft. You need to man up and stuff like that. And as an adult, I realized, those teachings was absolutely wrong, and that everybody, it doesn't matter you're a man or a woman, you're going to feel sad, you're going to feel happy, and stuff like, you're going to have these type of emotions.
What would be the aftermath, I guess, if you did cry or you did, other than like, your mom, is just someone in your family, or, is this like something that you would deal with like with your friends?
It was really, I remember like cousins and family members, because I've always been very sensitive and, very sensitive about my emotions and other people's feelings. So I used to get made fun of a lot for showing, that I, cared, and I cried just like everyone else.
So just basically showing emotions is a no-no.
Yeah, especially in the black community. A black man's supposed to be very strong and tough and fearless, and nothing, 24/7, nothing pierces them. And I think that's of course a stigma, getting back to mental health, in the black community, I would say it's a stigma that for black people to have any type of mental disorders, because it means that you're broken or you're crazy or you can't be treated. I think people believe that, if you have this type of disorder, then you can't live a normal life, but you can. There's thousands and thousands of people who live normal lives with being medicated and having proper treatment and going to therapy.
Yeah, but then you have people like Tom Cruise saying, medication is evil. You don't need this. Focus on what the root issue is. Okay, if you're anxious, why are you anxious? Talk, and try to basically say that the medicine isn't necessary and it doesn't work, and it's only making things worse. Do you think that? Me personally, I don't say go out there and go get some Ritalin, to fix your shit. I don't just advocate the drugs like that, but at the same time, I'm not gonna, deny the fact that it does assist and it does help people. That's just one drug in particular. But
yeah.
What's your view in general about taking medication? Are you would you say that it's bad, or would you say that it's good, or?
Well, taking medication is definitely be a benefit, absolutely. I don't think it'll be a bad thing. And another thing about it too, people need to understand that people are sometimes born with these disorders and they can't help it, or it's genetics. You can have pass these genes along to your family members. It's something that some people just cannot help. And with those type of conditions, you can't just, sometimes you just can't just exercise and say that that's going to resolve it. Now, I do know for myself that when I exercise, it does help. It helps a great deal. But there's different degrees to a mental disorder, you know. There's some severe cases that, you know, you can exercise all you want, and it's not going to get better, especially with people with bipolar disorders, and they have their manic attacks. Those have to be treated and be medicated and watch and observe, and they have to make sure that they have their medications on time.
So you're not going to just do a bunch of squats, eat some bananas and drink some fruity shakes, and that's going to get rid of your schizophrenia or your bipolar or your manic depressive episodes. I totally agree with that. As far as stigma's concerned, when you sit down and you think about what is a stigma, it's basically, you know, you're being judged, basically, right? That's what it comes down to. You're being judged for not being like the majority, right? You're not. I mean, and I think it's ironic that it's so prevalent in a minority group that you would think that, hey, we already know how it feels to be judged simply for being black or simply for being Latino or any other minority group, right? You're already being judged, or your culture already has a history of being judged by the majority. To then say, okay, well, within our community, we're going to then point that same finger at people within our group. So I just find that so ironic. But I was actually looking up, there's a book by somebody by the name of Irving, I think it's Irving Gordon, but he wrote a book in 1964 about stigma, and it's just really the pressures of your society or the people that you put value into, right? You know, your friends, your family, or even strangers. And that book was really focusing on why we would value the opinions of other people regarding our flaws instead of embracing our flaws and speaking out about your flaws, right? You're having the insight about your flaws and helping other people that feel just like you feel more normal. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. If you feel like you're the only person on the earth that's ever broken their arm, that's a little silly, right? I mean, obviously you would think that other people have broken their arms, and you're not going to go online and make fun of people that broke their arms. You don't know if, they were born with a broken arm or if they fell down. You get the point. But, for these people with mental health disorders, it's basically, you're going to keep that to yourself. You're going to play it off like it's nothing. You're not getting any type of opposite view or opinion from your family, right? Because they're all wanting it to just go away. This phase, as you said, right? Okay, yeah, sometimes he has Tourette's, or sometimes he leaves to go to the grocery store, but we hear the car pull up back in the driveway 5 minutes later because he's testing the lock to make sure he locked it, and then he leaves and he's back again testing the lock, and an hour go by, he hasn't even gone to the grocery store yet because his OCD is paralyzing, and he's not able to work a job, and he can't speak to people about this. You would think that we would say, and yes, it's 2017. A lot has changed. A lot is better. I'm not saying there isn't anything out there. Obviously, people are paying attention. That's why there is medication. That's why he is able to put his mom in the care of people that are going to examine her professionally. Things have changed, but I think in less professional settings, just in general, if you see somebody that's autistic or something in public, you're I mean, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I mean, I would say it's more likely for somebody to quickly judge that person, or at least have a different reaction than they would to a child that they would see acting more regularly on the regular. So for me, just to kind of throw in my 2 cents, I mean, yeah, I'm a military veteran, so you see things, you're in environments that are scary. You you hear things, you find out about people that have passed away, and you think about, why, your survivor's guilt, why am I here? These things beget maybe insomnia, where you can't sleep because you're having vivid, dreams. And the vivid dreams maybe have you relive a situation. Maybe it was a good situation, then you wake up and realize that that person's passed away, that wasn't real. Or you relive a bad situation, and even though you wake up and realize it's not real, it's still on your mind, right? And then that might fold into depression, because you're constantly, it's an inescapable cycle, and maybe you're almost like a Freddy Krueger effect, where you're afraid to go to sleep, and it starts affecting your life, because you're not performing well at work, or maybe you have bags under your eyes, or you're just always in an irritable mood, and people start talking about you, right? And then they'll say, well, that guy's, he has a hair trigger. He sets off easy, or loud noises make him low crawl and pull a knife out of his pocket and put that in his teeth, and he's back in like some kind of a war field. PTSD is a real thing, and it's tough, because people aren't wearing T-shirts saying, "Hey, I see dead people," right? They're not wearing T-shirts that say that, so I can walk up to them and be like, "Hey, you're like me." So in general, when you're walking around and you're constantly worrying about, am I acting normal? Am I speaking normally? Am I making eye contact? Am I fitting in the mold? And somebody asks you, is something wrong with you? You might be reluctant to say yes, because maybe you're having that lie of passion. Not to touch on the last talk, you're having that lie of passion where you're so focused on how things used to be, or how you'd like things to be, or how you have it built in your head, that you're wanting to just ignore the entire issue. So I mean, it's really tough, and I think that if you look closely at anybody in your family or any of your friends, just because you don't go to the hospital, right, to get a cast in your arm, doesn't mean your arm's not broken. So just because you're not diagnosed, I mean, you, the viewer, could have something that needs to be treated. I mean, think about that. That's a little scary. Have you ever gone to a psychologist for a one consultation or two consultation to kind of see what they come up with?
That's the key. It's all about going through and making sure that people are treated and people are getting the support and help. I think that's really what's important, is that even if, it's okay to talk about your feelings. It's okay to talk about your emotions. And if you go through this spell, per se, that for weeks and weeks, that you're just very sad and you don't understand why, that's not normal. You need to get treated. You need to get support. You need to have people to talk to. And for me, I know for myself that I go through, these spells and emotions that I feel, very sad and upset, or I get very anxiety about, what if things don't go the way that I plan, or, am I following up, with my goals and stuff like that. And it's okay. It doesn't mean that your life is over. I think that's the real, the gist of everything, that people think that if you have a mental disorder, then it's nobody want to stay.
You're damaged goods.
You're damaged goods, and I don't want to be around you because I feel like I may be damaged as well. I remember this story that actually singer Toni Braxton said, and she said her child, of course, is artistic, and she was
artistic.
Artistic.
Autistic.
Autism.
Autistic.
Artist.
Not painting, right?
Not painting. No.
Autistic. No R. I do that all the time too.
He's artistical. No. It's autism, right?
Autism. Like shock and awe. Autism. Like the dentist.
And then
when you say awe, and then you add the tistic.
Autistic.
There you go.
And then so the person who have autism, they're autistic.
Exactly.
The more you know.
He was drinking. I haven't been drinking yet. That's why I have the up and up.
I have, I had the Henny Black.
You have the down and down.
Fucking nigga. This is the shit I have to pull up with every time. Anyways, her beautiful baby boy have autism, and she really thought that he was very shy, and like he didn't speak much. He didn't say anything. He wouldn't make eye contact with anyone around him. And she would say, he's just very shy. Don't mind him and stuff like that. But her child was growing older and older, and really have just it's only so much an introvert would do. I mean, eventually an introvert will say hello and eventually make at least eye contact once in a while. But she did take him to treatment, and she did find and discover that he had the condition, and now he doesn't have it anymore.
He doesn't have it anymore. He's medicated, or how does that?
For us, what she has said, she said that he doesn't have that condition anymore. That's what she said. Now, of course,
I don't know if there's a cure for autism.
I don't know. That's what she said. Y'all can Google that.
She could still be masking it. Yeah. But yeah, guys, really appreciate you guys listening to this talk. Sorry for the delay. It was quite a drive to get out here, and there's a couple things that kind of put us back. Like, for instance, we're actually using the new, not too new, but the iPhone 8 Plus. So I upgraded from my fucking iPhone 5S to the 8 Plus, and it was just a nightmare because they put a ghost number on this phone, and it's a lot of TMI, but it took me some time to get everything corrected. I still have to go back to the fucking store. So we were like, no, we're not going to do another Tiger Talk in Batman's cave in my car driving out here. We wanted to wait till we got out here where it's lit up and you can see us. I'm actually not that dark, right? And we really appreciate you guys putting up with that. We are going to go inside, though. We're here at the Cheesecake Factory. We're going to have some food. Go ahead and show them. They're already in the Christmas spirit in fucking November. But Xavier, did you have anything else that you wanted to add before we back it
up? I just want to say this, that make sure that for your loved ones, defeat the autism, defeat the fear, forget about what everybody have to say or what they may think about it. Just go out and get help and treatment. The earlier detection, the better life they will have. And you can't live a normal life with a mental disorder to a certain degree.
Oh, and not just you saying that you have the problem, but maybe you recognize a problem in somebody else. So not to say that you're judging that person, but help them recognize it. I think is also helpful. But yeah, tune in for another episode of Tiger Talk. It'll be Friday Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. Unless we push it back because we have some fuckaroo problems. And I'm going to go ahead and sign off. This is Michael Carey with The One Good Reason, Xavier Hayes. Take it easy, guys. Enjoy your weekends.